Hey y'all, it's Tasha with Pine Knot Family Farm. Welcome back to our channel. So as promised, I'm going to show you the garden. I've got coffee in hand. It says farm here, don't care, which is so true today. That's every day actually for me. If you deal with my hair, you would understand. And it's actually straight today, even though it's back in a bun. I straightened it a couple of days ago, which is pretty rare. So it's 9 a.m. I'm gonna take you out here to the garden before it gets too hot. It's the end of September. We have a really nice breeze today, believe it or not. It's already 76 degrees at 9 in the morning. The humidity is 86%. And I think our high is close to 90 today. So it's crazy weather. I don't know when it's gonna be fall. It's starting to look a little like fall. It's just not feeling like it. So once again, as promised, a garden tour. We haven't done one in quite a while, but there's really not much to show. Peppers are about the only thing that's going right now. We've harvested a couple of zucchini, but there's just not much. I've tried to plant carrots twice. It's just too hot for them to come up. I've got a few sprigs coming up here and there now, but nothing compared to what I actually planted. So I have all my fall seeds just sitting, waiting to go. I have a feeling though that as soon as it cools off enough to plant, it's going to get cold. It seems like the last couple of years we've not really had spring or fall, like maybe a week or two of it, and that's it. It just goes straight to summer or straight to winter. So it's getting so late in the season now that it's looking like that's possibly going to be the way it's going to be again this year. So we are out here in the garden now. I'm going to give you an overview of it, and if you are new to our channel, welcome. I will leave a link to one of the old summer garden tours up in here, and you can see just how beautiful and luscious it was, because it was beautiful and luscious at one time, and now it's pretty bare. We tried to do another thing of corn, and it's tasseled at about 2 to 3 foot high, so it's not going to go. The weeds have overtaken it. If you look back at my videos in the summertime, I didn't have a sprig of weeds anywhere. I mean, it was perfect. We did not lay the ground cover barrier right there in the corn, and it has just been so hot that we've been coming out. It's getting dark earlier too, so we've been coming out and having about 30 minutes to feed all the animals, do all the chores, water and harvest the garden, because I've been having to water the garden every day. I think we're on like 27-ish days of no rain. So by the time all that gets done, there's no time to weed or do anything else. So the garden looks pretty pitiful right now, just being real with y'all guys. So if you are new, check out one of the garden tours from this summer. And we are growing zone 7B in Northeast Arkansas. Just an overview. You can see right here, we've got all the tomatoes pulled up. These 2 rows here was all, I think I had 45 tomato plants. We haven't stored the rest of these cages yet. Haven't decided where we're gonna put them. The pepper plants are the only things, like I said, that's doing really good right now. I harvested last night several bell peppers off of here. They're in the house. I'm gonna chop them up and put them in the freezer. I also harvested several jalapenos. That one will be ready in another day or two. So I got a whole basket full of those. I mean, they're just doing really, really well. You can see these have got sunspots on them. I'm trying to pick those off. Side of the peppers is the huge cotton plant. Levi says he's never seen a cotton plant this big before. I didn't fertilize it or do anything to it, but it is not, I mean, it's got the bulbs on it. It's just not got any cotton set yet. Just to kind of show you, I'm about 5'7", and it goes above my head here, so it's pretty huge. If any of y'all are familiar with cotton, you know that cotton loves heat. That's why it's grown down in the south. So this thing is just absolutely thriving. Still got pretty blooms on it. And over here is an okra plant I have yet to pull up. When I come down here to water in the evening, I'm trying to just pull 1 or 2 things up. You can see I pulled one up the other day. These are cucamelons. or gherkins. Just little bitty. Another thing about the gherkins or cucamelons, to be honest with you, I don't like them. I am not a cucumber fan. I love pickles. That's about all we do. We don't utilize the cucumbers raw or anything. We always pickle them. And I probably should pick some of these and try to pickle them in a brine or something like that. I just really honestly haven't had time. And I love trying new things. So I wanted to try these, and I'm not saying that I won't try them again. I may try them when I have time to pickle them. I think it would be a unique thing. I think the boys would really like that, like mini pickles. So I hope that works out. But they are doing awesome. I mean, absolutely awesome. I just really need to come pick them. Down here you can see it's pretty much a hot mess. There's a few watermelons left down there that need to be fed to the horses. Everything is drying up. Actually, it looks like the cantaloupe are putting on a couple more blooms, but I don't expect anything out of that. This is the mess we had told you with the corn. It is just absolutely grown up, and it's so thick now, it's just gonna have to be tilled. That's just all there is to it. Now, if you've been following our channel, you've seen that we built this 8-foot tall fence. It's 2 foot of tin at the bottom and 6 foot up. And we were still having problems with animals, I'm assuming raccoons, that was coming in. We had 3 rows, they were 150 foot long a piece, of corn planted in another half row. And it was going to be ready in about 3 or 4 days. We left the homestead for a couple days, come back, and the raccoons had wiped out. There was probably 300 or 400 ears of corn laying on the ground. We got none. It was so frustrating. My pumpkins that I had planted, if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it above. But I don't know that I'm actually going to get any pumpkins in time for Halloween or for fall. If I get them later in fall, that would be great, because we're just going to cook them down and puree them. But everything was just chomping back and eating it. As soon as it would start to grow, something was just chomping back and eating it. So Levi finally put up an electric fence. I will show y'all in a minute. It's all the way around the edge here. And I think that solved our problem, because the squash, everything is starting to thrive now. So I'll show y'all the pumpkins. We did lose a few. I still don't know that we're gonna get any pumpkins in time. And if we do, I think it'll be just a few. It's not gonna have time to really vine out 10 foot like they normally would. But I'll take what I can get at this point. It's starting to make a pretty good recovery. They're just, a lot of the areas had died due to things eating on them. And you can see all right through here where the ends were just completely eaten off of everything. I mean, they didn't have a chance to grow because it just kept eating it back. We had 13 different varieties of pumpkins planted. You can just see the starting to finally recover there. And that one, I mean, it's not going to have time to really make a lot of anything. This one is probably the one that's vined out the most, but it doesn't have a lot of blooms on it. We did lose one completely right here, and this one is pretty much done for. The sunflower circle wasn't the greatest. Next year, if I do decide to do this, I'll probably put a border up because it was very hard to keep the grass out of it. Harvesting some of the seeds out of here. I broke one off the other night. So there's lots of seeds in there that we can get. I have pulled up all the marigolds right here that were dying out. The loofah gourd, I know the sun's going to start to become an issue at this point, and I apologize for that. The loofah gourd is doing awesome. Can you see all those blooms up there? And I did get a very late start on planting it. And we'll walk through here and find, I do have some loofahs. There's another one right there. So they're kind of hidden all in here. I do want to say again a big thank you to Ann and Andy's Homestead for sending me the loofah gourd seeds. This is my first time growing them, and I'm super excited just to have the few that I have on there. I got a late start planting them. I can imagine what it would have done if I would have gotten them started a little bit earlier. But I will leave the link to Ann and Andy's Homestead below. They live in Arkansas as well, and just awesome people. about 5 or 6 weeks ago, we've pulled a couple of zucchinis off of here. And you can see on this side, the chili peppers, I harvested several last night. All the peppers are just doing amazing. We got some cayenne peppers right here. You can see through there. And poblanos. I harvested several poblano peppers last night. This is a basil that I had gotten at the farmer's market up in Mountain Home, and it is doing very, very well. We have a few marigolds left. Sweet potatoes, not sure. I'm keeping them watered, but as you can see, they're starting to pop out of the ground and there's not really much to them. So I'm thinking that that's probably going to be a fail. I think it was just too hot. They do have really, there's a couple more blooms are setting off. Y'all can see those are so pretty. Here's the other side of the peppers. And I am keeping these watered every day. Raised beds. Cilantro, I'm just letting it bolt to get the seeds. Lemon balm, still going crazy. I gave it a haircut the other day. It was all over everybody else's stuff, so trimmed it back. And oregano, I've harvested several of it. I pulled all the tomato plants up except for these two because they were still looking pretty healthy. I picked a few more tomatoes off of them. They don't have anything or any blooms right now, but we're just gonna let it go because we don't need that space anyways. And about 3 weeks ago, I planted radishes. Never have done radishes before. I'm not sure that I like them, but we're gonna give it a try and see if the family does. And they are just taking off looking great. Few flowers left over here. These honestly are to the point you can see there's just a few blooms left. They really need pulled. At one time this was my favorite raised bed. It was the zinnias. You can see this is what's left of it. I've been pulling them out little by little, but the ones that still have a little bit of color, I can't hardly pull them and let them go. So every day I come down here, I'm just pulling one or two. Here is another pepper bed. These are all the ones I've gotten at Tractor Supply at the last minute when I had lost several of my others. So we got jalapenos and bell peppers in here. This is the bed that I had started the carrots in. You can see we have a few sprigs coming up pretty randomly, but as thick as I sowed these and as many rows as I put in here, that's not very good, but we're gonna leave these and we may come back and re-sow some in the next week or two. Another box of peppers. We've got bell peppers in here, and some of these are turning red. If you've never heard of Azo Conpolio, I know I'm probably butchering the name a little bit, but that's the best I can do. I got it at Baker's Creek. I didn't think it was actually going to come up, and at the last minute they decided to go for it and are doing really well. It is a Cuban pepper, originated from Cuba, and it is compared and looks to a habanero, but once you remove the seeds, there's no heat at all to it. It is a great seasoning pepper, so I have been dehydrating some of them. You can throw them in a pot of beans or something like that. You can also grind them up for a seasoning, so that's what we've been doing with them. And they'll get a really, these probably need just a day or two more, you can see, but they get a really bright red. I harvested several of them last night, and this plant, once it takes off, it puts out a lot of peppers. This is still the kids' play area. And we started a new thing of zinnias probably 4 or 5 weeks ago. That one is really pretty. We got this candy cane. I love this candy cane striped one. And this bed of marigolds is also on its last few days. It needs pulled up. We've got 2 squash plants. This one you can see where the animals was eating it back. They had it completely back to nothing and it has recovered very well. This one I planted probably a week or so later and they didn't really touch it too much. So I'm hoping to get a late harvest of a couple of squash. I planted these squash a little late on purpose like this. I actually got burnt out on squash. I canned several. I'll leave that video in the link above if you've never done that. But fried squash, I absolutely love it and I would eat it just for supper alone. Towards the middle of summer, I was kind of over it and done. I just let them die back. And I knew that I would have the craving for some more squash later on, so I purposely planted these later in the season. Even if I just get a small crop off those, that will be great. The last thing is our trellis. You can see here, I've really struggled with this and I'll show you up close. Something kept eating these back as well. So hopefully now that the electric fence is up, everything will be able to thrive and do very well. You can see we got some scarlet runners here that are starting to bloom. And it's kind of a weeded mess. I need to take and lay some newspaper down here, but I was letting everything get up. I planted some sugar snap peas in the middle here for fillers last night. So once these get up, I will probably put some kind of weed barrier down. Over here, you can see we've got some green beans starting to come on and make several blooms, and it's about halfway up the trellis here. So hopefully we'll get a little bit of harvest off of that. It took a while to get started because something kept eating it back too. And here's another one that is just really struggled. Our expected frost date per the Farmer's Almanac is November the 1st. So here it is, the end of September. We still got fairly a good amount of growing season left. So we will see what this garden does. Here is the electric fence that Levi had put up. He just got all this at Tractor Supply. It's a solar charger and the wire just runs all the way along the top of the garden. So I hope you have enjoyed this garden tour. I know it was short. There wasn't a whole lot to see, but the peppers, I'm probably harvesting 2 to 3 gallons of peppers twice a week right now. So they're doing really good. I can't complain. It's just this heat, it's very unusual. As y'all all know, it seems like it's getting a little bit more like that. And this wind, this is the first time we've had a breeze in probably 3 weeks, and it feels pretty good. The humidity, you still feel really sticky due to the humidity, but the breeze is a nice added touch for sure. So we're all ready for fall around here. Fall starts off the kick of duck season. If y'all don't know, Levi is an avid duck hunter. We have a cabin up on Black River. We are gonna go up and clean it pretty soon and we'll show you that. We'll tell you this kind of the story behind it, and we can't wait to show that. Oh, I thought y'all was gonna get blown away. Now this breeze feels like fall, it really does. But we can't wait to show you our little cabin, and there's gonna be lots of video footage from duck hunting. So if you are a duck hunter or love that kind of stuff, we've got that coming up this winter. The boys, Levi, they really enjoy the duck hunting. I will try to take you all along and give you an update on what I am putting in the garden. The garden tours are just not going to be as many as there was during the summer, of course, but I will try to keep y'all updated on all that stuff. I'm gonna sit out here and enjoy the breeze for a little bit before it gets too hot and miserable. I hope y'all have a great one, and until next time, God bless.